So, Grey's Anatomy fans, I have an early Christmas gift for you all. The episode title for episode 9 of season 15 and some promotional picks have dropped, and I'm so excited to discuss the title and the picks. There's only two, and the title is pretty short, but I think it's really symbolic, so I'm really looking forward to just discussing them and, of course, seeing a more detailed trailer and the episode itself. Now, before we get into the picks, I briefly want to talk about marketing. Grey's Anatomy is suffering the trend of ABC essentially not caring about their shows anymore. And I think, even though Grey's is so popular and has a very strong fan base, and it's still ranking in the millions of viewers for every episode, and it's one of the most popular shows on Netflix, the marketing really blows right now. And here's why. So I know that the holiday season, there's all the holiday movie specials and TV specials, and then there's just the other movies that are coming out like Aquaman, Mary Poppins, and whatnot that are kind of suppressing television news. But this story didn't trend at all, even for a couple hours. It got suppressed under so many other tweets. None of the celebrities, just because of what's going on in their own lives, didn't have any time to tweet about it. Now, it was also a TV Line exclusive, and TV Line is a fantastic source for TV news, but it's not that big. It's not as big as Entertainment Weekly. And the Grey's Anatomy Twitter feed, they're pretty big. They have over 1 million followers, and it only got about 800 likes, which which sounds great in theory, but 800 to say like 2,000, 3,000 is quite different. So the story really did get suppressed, and I wasn't a fan of that, just because I thought to myself, this show is so popular, and they've had very sparse information recently about this episode, and we still don't have an episode description, which still bothers me. But we had an interview with Krista Vernoff, who is the showrunner right now, and I liked what she had to say, and I have a couple comments about that as well. So we're gonna pull up the picks, and we're going to discuss the interview and the title. So the title is "Shelter from the Storm," and I think that title is symbolic and extremely literal. Literal because they're in a storm. Like, you have no other choice but to seek shelter in Grey Sloan. Like, it makes total sense. And then you have all the doctors trying to deal, with the storm itself, and then we'll talk about the ramifications of the storm with Meredith and DeLuca. But then the metaphorical part of it is essentially people finding shelter from the storms that is their lives. Like maybe Maggie finding shelter with Jackson and vice versa because of the Catherine situation, and then possibly Richard finding some form of shelter with Jackson and Maggie as well because of Catherine. And then, the other doctors dealing with their own personal issues. Though I do say, I think of all the doctors, Alex and Joe have a relatively smooth life at the moment. So anyway, I like the title. I think it's really nice. As I said, it's symbolic and literal, and I love when titles can be like that. So let's talk about the interview. So essentially, the love triangle is now between Meredith and Link, and Vernoff promises that the maybe couple will emerge from captivity with a deeper understanding of each other, and according to the writer of the article, and in Mare's case, some kick-ass Princess Leia braids, which you can see on the photo. And then in episode 10, Meredith will talk to Link's character and get to know him more. So essentially, the next two episodes of Grey's Anatomy, 9 and 10 doesn't have a title yet, will be focused heavily on Meredith, more or less, which I like. It is Grey's Anatomy, so it's time to go back to the roots and give Meredith, her screen time. And this season is a season of love, and Meredith is the character that we want to see find love, I would imagine, especially just given the passionate romance she had with Derek. So I like the fact that the next episodes are going to be heavily based on Meredith, and I'm looking forward to seeing seeing those storylines play out. And then we briefly, towards the end of the article, it talked about the age difference. So in the show, Meredith is born in 1978, which would make her roughly 40 years old, and Derek was born in 1966. So there's a 12-year age gap there. But in real life, Patrick Dempsey's 52 and Ellen Pompeo's 49, so their age gap in real life is so close that it's kind of hard to reflect the larger gap on the show. So no one, I don't think, ever really felt cradle robbing it and the like with Derek and Meredith. But with DeLuca, even though his in-canon age isn't given, he's 29 years old. Giacomo Gennacini is 29 in real life, and Chris Carmack, also in canon age, is 38 in real life. So there's still a pretty big discrepancy between the two. Now, if he is 29 on the show, there's only 11 years, which is very similar to Meredith and Derek. And if Chris Carmack Link is only 38 on the show, is only really 2 years, give or take. So, you know, like there should be no complaints about the youngness of the character just based upon the in-canon age. Again, if you look at real life, it's a little different because, again, Ellen Pompeo is 20 years older than Giacomo Gennatoni. Now, Chris Carmack, I do like the acting. I think he's fine, but I just didn't care for how he was written in as coming in as a hotshot ortho god. It's when you have Callie Torres, bring in your ortho goddess. Bring Callie back. And Sara Ramirez has been vocal about returning to the show, and I hope that she does. So of the love triangle, my ship is Meredith, and Giacomo Gennatoni had an interview which I talked about where he essentially ships Meredith and Deluca, which obviously would make sense because he wants more screen time with Ellen Pompeo. It helps his career portfolio and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Meredith and Deluca quite a bit. But I think that Chris Carmack and Ellen Pompeo could at least, their characters could be friends at some point. Plus also, Atticus's character has a history with Joe, and Meredith likes Joe. So there's still ways to have positive relationships, but you just don't need to ship Meredith and Link. But as I said, I'm a big fan of Meredith and Deluca just because I feel like he's a younger version of Derek. So these pictures, which I haven't really even talked about too much because it's only 2 of them, and as I said, this show for this episode we haven't got any other pictures besides these 2, and I do like them. But they're stuck in the elevator, but it's the Grey's Anatomy trend of using the elevator. Like Meredith was proposed to in an elevator, and as I said, Deluca is very much Derek Light in my opinion, and I love the fact that as I said, Meredith got proposed to in an elevator. That Meredith and Deluca are spending time in an elevator to get to know each other. There's a lot of great scenes of Derek and Meredith in the elevator, so I like that being reflected here. I really like just like the stare that he's giving her and Ellen Pompeo's reaction to it. Like she just seems like she wants to know him, that she wants to let him in, and then the very kind and compassionate stare that he's giving when in the picture where they're sitting down is beautiful as well. I really do see a strong chemistry between the 2 actors. I really do like the character of Deluca. I think he's really interesting. Krista Burnoff had said that we still don't know too much about him, which is true. He's only been introduced since around season 12, and so we're on season 15. But he feels like he's been there forever just because he's been very impactful to the show, more or less. And, he's dated Maggie. He got into that huge fight with Alex where Alex beat him up. Like, he's been involved in all these characters' lives. So I do like the fact that they're trying to ship it. And again, I think he's a good actor. But I just love the stares that they're giving. It's very compassionate. And hopefully the audience learns a lot about these 2 and learns a bit more about Deluca. And hopefully this episode allows for a stronger realization that despite the real life age difference, that in canon, it's just like Meredith and Derek, except it's reverse. And I don't like the double standard there because, quite frankly, I think honestly age is just a number, and I really do think that these 2 make a really fun couple. Plus, it also allow for extra drama in the hospital. But as I said, the 2 being in the elevator is so standard Grey's Anatomy. I think that's perfect. I love the title of this episode. I'm looking forward to watching and reviewing this episode in full. I'm a little bummed out that we haven't got any additional pictures or an episode description, but as I had said, due to the holidays, the TV news of current shows is really getting suppressed. Like Netflix, is releasing tons of stuff. They just released Fuller House. Like Grey's Anatomy, as popular and great as it is, it's not as relevant until after the holidays are done, and so which is why January 17th is a perfect date for it to come back. So anyway, I hope you liked my discussion of these pictures. I wish I had more to say. It's just they're great stares, they're good expressions. Grey's Anatomy has fantastic actors who can do fantastic face acting and dramatic acting. Like, I see the fear in Meredith's eyes. Like, she's panicked about what's going to be going on, while Deluca's trying to calm her down and also giving off the fact that he likes her. And then, after she fixes her hair, I'm curious where she gets the elastics. She's looking at him and it's like, maybe this will work out. And I think it's really nice. I wish we had some more pictures to see Maggie, to see maybe more of Maggie and Jackson. I want to see more of Alex. Part of me in my head, I do like Meredith and Deluca, but as I said, I kind of feel that Alex and Meredith might be endgame at the very, very end of the show, but I could be wrong. There's a lot of different theories of how Grey's Anatomy could end, one of them being that it was all in Meredith's head being due to Alzheimer's, but I really hope that doesn't happen. So anyway, share your thoughts about the 2 pictures in the comments below, what you think about the episode title. I'm so happy that we got 2 Grey's Anatomy news drops at once. I just wish it wasn't suppressed under a bunch of other things, but overall, very happy with what I saw. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. All right, bye.